Hey YouTube. Yeah, I know I'm told I clean up pretty good. Shaved the beard, cut the hair and all that. Had a World War I event I went to a couple weeks ago, and I had to make myself fairly presentable. This is it. This is as presentable as I get. But anyway, back to the subject at hand. Old camping crap. The last video we established some terms about packs, haversacks, knapsacks, the difference between them. What we're going to be doing now is putting that into practice by telling y'all a little bit about the very first backpack suitable for what we come to know today as backpacking. Being able to go long distances, multiple day trips, carrying all of our food and shelter and cooking implements with us. Now it all starts out in 1907 about. A guy named Ole Bergen, who lived in Norway, and he went hunting, and he did it in the style that was prevalent at the time, with a haversack and a pack. And he decided that just wasn't the best way to do it. He was uncomfortable. He wasn't able to carry as much as he wanted. So he came up with a new idea. He came up with a pack, with a system that would carry had enough space in it, and would carry the weight evenly distributed about your back, on the shoulders, and on the center of your spine, and it would hold it close to you. And that's because the principal method of hunting in those days in Norway involved skiing and climbing mountains. Now, having a haversack hanging off of you and a pack on the other side, and or hanging from your head on a tump line, doesn't work well in mountaineering. You climb a mountain, if your weight shifts a little bit, you're going to be a greasy spot at the bottom of the mountain instead of a guy climbing up it. So he came up with a system that would hold everything right next to you, and would be able to move with your body with a low center of gravity that lent itself well to skiing, where you spend some time hunched over, going from side to side to side. You understand what I'm saying here? It was a revolutionary concept, because now, all of a sudden, you could go out, and instead of having to get back to shelter, back home, before sundown, you could go out and stay overnight in the woods, in the winter, in the mountains. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, now Ole Bergen patented his design in Norway in 1907. It was granted in 1908. He wasn't very successful selling anywhere outside of Norway at that time. So he sold the patent in 1911 to a fella. Now, I'm not going to tell you the names of the people involved, or the names of the towns where they came from, or where they were born, or where the factories were, because it's all in Norwegian, and okay? Now the system involved two basic components. A frame that would hold the weight of the bag, which is the second component, that would hold it close to your body. this is what it looked like. His original frame was made, I believe, out of bamboo or wood. It didn't work out well, and he made it out of metal. This is actually a frame from a United States Army military backpack of the late 1940s, early 1950s. Okay? And then you have a bag. In the bag, there's a leather pocket designed to fit over the top of that frame. And then it has different points of attachment that would keep it close to the frame. The pack also introduced the concept of exterior pockets and a large internal pocket, large internal bag for things like sleeping bags, camp stoves, and cookware and food. It was truly revolutionary. The original was made of leather. And later on in the 1920s, it became the one most prevalent, the one most famous, the one most popular was one made in the 1920s that was expandable. You could carry large loads. Now, the other thing about the Bergen pack is it introduced a new word into the lexicon. It's one I didn't talk about in the last video about terms. But this came from a misreading of the original advertisements. We get the word rucksack from Bergen's original description of his pack. Today we know a rucksack as a backpack with a very large cargo capacity. A big bag with a big mouth that you can just reach right down inside. That's a rucksack. It's a little bit bigger than a backpack. Now, the Bergen patents ran out in 1928. Started running out. Any patents they'd taken between 1908, when the first patent was granted, and 1928 when it ran out. And competitors started capitalizing on the design. They started using the design, and some wonderful things started happening. That's what happens when patents run out. The competitors, while using the same basic design, the same frame shape, and the same bag with external pockets, they began doing things to kind of personalize. I said, well, okay, yeah, we're making a Bergen pack, but ours is a little different. They would have things like leather loops to attach ice axes, and leather loops on the bottom so that you could attach a rolled sleeping bag, giving you more room in your cargo compartment. Even adding things like padded shoulder straps. This is a Hagelof's pack, a Swedish competitor that started in about 1914. This thing comes from about the 1930s. Now, Bergen at first started to follow this. So, you know, it's okay, everybody else is making our pack. We got to do something different. And they had to do something that was patentable. When I went out to buy a complete Bergen pack, other than parts and pieces that I had acquired over the frames and things that I showed you earlier, I wanted to get a Bergen pack that was a little bit special, a little bit different than just a regular Bergen pack. This one comes from 1934, and it shows, oh my goodness, I dropped my stove. My stove is on the floor. Give me a minute. Okay, everything's fine. The stove is okay. I knew you were just as worried as I was. Anyway, let's go back. In 1934, Bergen did something they really didn't need to do. They came up with a system, and I'll see if I can get a better close-up of this. Put the camera back. You can see there's a little wheel here, and then the leather is sewn in a tubular fashion, and it goes through this wheel, and it allows the shoulder straps to move back and forth. And what this does, if this is connected to your body, and the pack tends to shift, okay. Like I said, I got that because it's a little bit different from all the other Bergen packs. It didn't last very long. They didn't sell it much past the late 1930s, and they went back to doing what they did best, which was making Bergen packs. Now, the Bergen pack is undoubtedly the most significant development in backpacking. We would not have backpacking were it not for the Bergen pack. And the word backpack was invented to describe the Bergen. Throughout history of the 20th century, the Bergen pack was so popular, especially with the militaries of the world, that today European militaries still call their load-bearing equipment a Bergen. Whether it's done in the Bergen style or not, the Bergen design, it's a Bergen. It's like, toss me my Bergen, we're going out on a mission. Okay? It was revolutionary in that it combined all of the attributes of the pack and the knapsack together. It's the first time you could carry your sleeping gear, your eating gear, and all of the things you needed to get to quickly in one system, in one bag. So rather than carrying your food slung across your shoulder and your sleep gear slung across the other shoulder, now everything is on your back. And it is designed so that it stays in one place on your body. In this case, it has a low center of gravity so that it can be used better for skiing. It's also where we start getting people looking at backpack design, doing things like in the post-patent period of adding leather straps and different size pockets, different size bags, all of that. In other words, now this is the dawn of the time of the backpack designer. It's also the first time that a civilian designed a load-bearing system superior to what the military was doing at the time. Eventually, in the middle of the 20th century, after the First World War, and we're going to have a video on that, when the militaries of the world started adopting a civilian-designed load-bearing system. It's truly revolutionary. Now, whether or not this is the most significant development in backpacking or the second most significant backpacking development is something I wrestle with. And we'll get into that when we get into the post-World War II period. Okay? Our next video is going to show you America's answer to the birth of backpacking. Kind of the cousin of the Bergen pack. See you in 8 days. Bye.